Welcome to lesson number 6, where we're talking about pronunciation for Italian consonants. If we haven't met before, I'm Manu Venditti and I'm the founder of Italy Made Easy, where we help people like you become fluent in Italian, and we're just getting started with this 30-day series for beginners of Italian. This is lesson 6, so make sure that you've watched the first 5, obviously, because we're progressing here. Pronouncing consonants. We've already covered the vowels. Before we go ahead, you got them? A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. Always pronounce them consistently and you will be fine. And today we're looking at consonants because while most consonants kind of sound the same, there are some differences. So we'll look at some of the trickier sounds. So, Italian doesn't have 5 consonants. True, we only have 21 letters in the alphabet. So what are the missing consonants? You'll find out by the end of the video, I suppose. So let's start with this consonant here. The sound is B, B, B. We call it B. Now, a very good exercise that I always tell my students to really get comfortable with is taking every consonant sound and combine it with the 5 vowels. So we're going to do it together. B and A sounds like ba, ba. B and E sounds be, be. Now, if you want it to be kind of picky, then you say it could be be or be, but we just go with be. B and E, it's B, B. I say E because it's E in Italian, B. B and O is bo, bo. And B and U is boo. So the idea is this: you got the B sound, then you have ba, be, bi, bo, boo, ba, be, bi, bo, boo. Look at the workout that my mouth is going through, ba, be, bi, bo, boo, because all the vowels in Italian are very open, not like English or other languages. It's ba, be, bi, bo, boo. And if you do this with every consonant, and then you start shuffling and mixing combination of syllables, you will find that you already have the Italian melody, even if you're making up words. Now, we're not talking about Family Guy imitating an Italian, but I'm talking about an authentic melody because you're not faking it, you're just pronouncing the vowels correctly. Now, the second consonant that we're working with is the C consonant, and it's a bit tricky because it has 2 different pronunciations, and most of all, it's confusing for English speakers for the spelling. It's one of the few letters in Italian that has kind of a strange way of behaving, and we will learn that. We will learn that. And the 2 sounds of that consonant, you can, even when you think about English, that consonant has 2 sounds in English as well, but they're not the same. So I'll tell you only what the Italian sounds are. So one sound is ch, and the other one is k, ch, k. We're gonna get back to this consonant later because it's one of the ones that it needs a little bit more work. So let's move on to D. D. Very similar to English, but like I said, not always. So let's do it. Da, de, di, do, do. Da, de, di, do, do. Da, de, di, do, do. Earlier we had ba, be, bi, bo, boo. Now we got da, de, di, do, do. Da, de, di, do, do. This consonant makes the sound f. Okay? F. So we have similar sound in English. So we have fa, fe, fi, fo, fu. Fa, fe, fi, fo, fu. Now we move on to the next consonant, which is the G consonant, which has the same trickiness of the C consonant. And so it has 2 sounds. It has 2 sounds in English as well. G and J. G, J. Which to you sounds like a J, right? So we'll get back to that one as well. H is silent in Italian, meaning that it's never pronounced. When it's at the beginning of a word, when it's in the middle of a word, not pronounced. It has a reason for existing. We use it for foreign words that start with a H, like hotel. We just say it without the H. We pronounce it without, but it's spelled with a H because it's an English word that we're using. It's used for verbs that used to have a H in Latin, and we had to keep the H to not confuse that verb with other words that also exist in Italian that sound the same, and so we need the H for spelling reasons to make sure that we're distinguishing. And then the third reason why you will see H a lot in Italian is because it helps with the pronunciation of the tricky sounds, and I'll tell you how it works. So here's one, hotel, hotel, and then io ho. Io ho means I have. That o is the verb I have. And we need the H because we also have a word that sounds like o, which is or, like this or that. And so without the H, we wouldn't know that, we wouldn't tell the difference. And Italian likes to be very clear about words. And so we'll do that. L, it's a little different from English. Most teachers never tell English speakers, no, your L is off. And that's because in Italian, L is a very frontal sound. I would relate L in Italian to the D sound. D, L. D, you do it with your tongue on the back of your teeth, like D. L is very similar position, so L. So you're touching the palate just before your teeth start with the tip of your tongue, but it's the same kind of location, it's L. So D, L. So why do I say it's different? It's different from English because many times, especially North American L, often comes from much lower. It's like Lisa, like later, like it's much more here, which kind of gets you sore here if you pay attention. Like it's a little, somebody's choking you. Italian doesn't have that chokingness, so it's la, le li lo lu, and I've just done the exercise. So we got la le li lo lu, la le li lo lu, very frontal. Again, it looks like da de di do du, la le li lo lu, kind of similar positioning. M, we call this M. I should go back. This one we call it L. And going back, I forgot, with this one we call H. So H, L, M. Ma, you go and tell me the 5. I'll say it. Ma, me, mi, mo, mu. Ma, me, mi, mo, mu. Now, I don't know if we've done enough syllables, but the reason why this exercise is so useful is that it gets you used to working with syllables in Italian. And so let's say that you wanted to combine these syllables like we do in Italian. You could say lama, lama. There was a syllable la, another syllable ma. Lama is a blade or the animal, a llama. So lama. Now we have the n, which is a n sound, nasal, similar to English. So we have na, ne, ni, no, nu. Na, ne, ni, no, nu. Na, ne, ni, no, nu. So if we take the syllable do, and then the syllable ma, and now the syllable ni, we can say domani. Domani means tomorrow. Domani. So if you're getting used to this kind of articulation in your mouth, you will always sound a lot more natural, a lot more Italian because your vowels sound natural. So domani. It's kind of hard to really mess up Italian consonants. I mean, you still can because they're different from English, but the vowels, once you get them, they're the key to your Italianness. This consonant is called P. It's got a P sound, and we have pape pi popu, pape pi popu. Now this one is a funny kind of consonant. We don't have a lot of words with this consonant. It's called Q, and it's always accompanied or followed by the U vowel. So it's not going to find Q by itself. Qua, que, qui, quo, cu. Again, pronunciation wise, there's a little trick here. It's qua, que, qui, quo, cu. But that ku by itself, you're not going to find it. So you will always have a qua, que, qui, or quo. Qua, que, qui, or quo, basically. So that ku is a little bit of a kind of an exception. R is a little different, but I don't want you to stress about R because every new student of Italian English speaker comes to me, Manu, I cannot roll my R. I'm terrible. I can't do it. First of all, you don't really have to become excellent at it. There are Italians who don't roll their R's. For Italians, it's a speech impediment. But again, if they can get by without having a R, so can you, right? So don't stress too much. Secondly, we only roll our R's in Italian on 2 occasions. When there's 2 of them, so it's a double R, in that case, it does roll and it sounds much more trilly, like that. It's a bit of it. And when it's at the beginning of a word and it's preceded by another vowel, so I'll give you a couple of examples, but otherwise it's just an R. Now, it has a different articulation from English, especially in North American English, because once again, American English or English, it depends which English, but often is very throaty. So it's Rachel, like it's here. Italian R is at the front. I'll tell you the combinations first so that you hear them. Ra, re, ri, ro, ru. Ra, re, ri, ro, ru. Very similar to la, le, li, lo, lu. And da, de, di, do, do. In fact, it's a mix of da, de, di, do, do and la, le, li, lo, lu. It gives you ra, re, ri, ro, ru. Ra, re, ri, ro, ru. Can you hear how it's not super strong? Ra, re, ri, ro, ru. We even have already learned a few words that have the R and it didn't sound scary, like porta, porta, porta. You just glide over the, like porta. You know, in English you have port. Well, I really can't use English because it's going to go more throaty, so no examples with English, but you get it. It's not that different. It gets difficult when it's double. And again, in our pronunciation course inside our platform, easily-com, all of our members have access to all of our courses. So you could be taking beginner Italian level 1 while you dive into the pronunciation course, which will teach you about all the sounds, including how to trill your R. Now, S consonant is tricky because it has two sounds. One is S, as in sand, S, like speciale, speciale, S. The other sound is Z, similar to the English rose. For example, the Italian word rosa, rosa. So let's do the combo, S with all the vowels. Sa, se, si, so, su. And now Z, za, ze, zi, zo, zu. You're not going to find za, ze, zi, zo, zu at the beginning of a word because in Italian, like that English word rose, the reason that you have rose is because the S is between vowels there. So in Italian, you will have a Z when the S is between two vowels, like rosa, rosa, rosa. Now, T. T is tricky, but it doesn't have two sounds, don't worry. T is tricky mostly for English speakers, mostly because of how English sounds when it's combined with some consonants and some vowels. So when it comes to vowels, ta, te, ti, to, tu. Usually that tu ends up sounding a little different for English speakers. But so ta, te, ti, to, tu, ta, te, ti, to, tu. The reason it's tricky is that when it's combined with other consonants, namely the R, that's when it becomes I'm exaggerating that, tricky. You know that tricky? In Italian, that word is tricky. Well, we won't say tricky. If I was reading that word in Italian, I would say tricky. Can you hear how it's different? Tri. Because TR sounds tr. Now this one is a V. V, va, ve, vi, vo, vu. Not too many problems there. Now, Z is tricky because it has two sounds. You get used to it, right? So the two sounds are, and I want to point out that as an English speaker, you might be tempted to see a Z in Italian and want to pronounce it Z. Our Z never has the Z sound. Which consonant has the Z sound? S. We already saw that. So Italian is like very like univocous so when it comes to consonants. So if S sounds Z, this one will not sound Z. So we have two sounds, ts, ts, like you have in English ants. So it's the combination of a T and an S sound, like ts, and then z, z, like when we say he adds, he adds. So it's ts and z. So we would have sa, tse, tsi, tso, tsu, and za, ze, zi, zo, zu. Again, this one not super important, but you will distinguish when to pronounce one way or the other. Now, these are the consonants that we do not have in Italian. J, we don't have it. K, which we call kappa, kappa. W, W, it's a double V in Italian, but that's a W. X, X, which is an X, and Y, Y, which is a Y. So when I say we don't have them, meaning that when we learn the alphabet in Italian, we don't cover them. We say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, Z. So that's how we say. Actually, you heard me say V, you could say V, which will be probably more accurate. But anyway, so we don't have them, meaning that no Italian word has them, but we do have words that come from other languages that use them, and we have some persons, some personal names that have them. So it's not like we don't know what they are, but they're not part of the Italian alphabet. So here's a few words that do use those letters that don't exist in the Italian alphabet. Jeans, jeans. Kappa, kappa is how we call K. It's also a brand, Italian brand. Kappa. Yogurt, yogurt. This one we pronounce Walter, Walter, but it is spelled with a double V, double W in Italian. E Alex, somebody is called Alex, then we say Alex. E per oggi abbiamo finito. So again, go over your combination of consonants, ba baby babu, da de di do, pa pe pi po, because this is going to help you sound very natural when you start speaking Italian very soon. Ciao ciao.